Good evening, Olive, Arlo, and Frank. Grandpa coming to you from the living room in Jacksonville Beach. And we're going to continue into Exodus 19, the journey in the wilderness of the children of Israel. So it's going to be a 40-year journey. We're 3 months into it right now. And we're going to see Moses become like a mountain climber. You'll see what I mean when we get started. God tests Moses quite often. Moses almost always passes the test. One big time he didn't, but we'll get to that. We will get to that in due time. So they're going to come to Mount Sinai. And some amazing things are going to happen there. Some very, very good and some very, very bad. So let's get started. In the 3rd month after the Israelites went out from the land of Egypt, on the very day they came to the desert of Sinai, after they journeyed from Rephidim, they came to the desert of Sinai, and they camped in the desert. Israel camped there in front of the mountain, so that's Mount Sinai. Moses went up to God. So when they say he went up to God, he went up the mountain. I assume he went almost all the way up. Maybe all the way up. Moses went up to God, and the Lord called to him from the mountain. Thus you will tell the house of Jacob, and declare to the people of Israel, you yourselves have seen what I did to Egypt, and how I lifted you on eagle's wings, and brought you to myself. And now, if you will diligently listen to me, and keep my covenant, that's a binding agreement between two parties. It's a contract. Keep my covenant. Then you will be my special possession out of all the nations, for all the earth is mine. And you will be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words that you will speak to the Israelites. Now, the Israelites over history have gone through all kinds of horrible things. And they haven't been what they were supposed to be. You know, they've broken the covenant many times, and we'll be talking about that as we go through the Bible. We'll be talking about that in the next couple chapters. It doesn't take long for them to mess up big time. But they are a special possession to him. And I think one of the ways that works, because he says, well, if you do these things, then you'll be a special possession to me. Some of them always did. There was always a remnant who did keep the covenant the best that they could. So he's supposed to tell the Israelites this. So Moses came and summoned the elders of Israel. So that means he came all the way down the mountain again. He set before them all these words that the Lord had commanded him. And all the people answered together, all that the Lord has commanded we will do. So Moses brought the words of the people back to the Lord. So that means he climbed back up the mountain. The Lord said to Moses, I am going to come to you in a dense cloud, so that the people may hear when I speak with you, and so that they will always believe in you. And that's interesting. He tells Moses, so they'll believe in you. Because he can smote them all. He can strike them dead if they don't believe in him. They quite often disobeyed God, but I don't necessarily remember any time that they didn't believe in him. Sometimes they believed that there were other gods, like when they were in Egypt and they came out of Egypt. And well, we're going to see the most famous example of that. It's called the golden calf. That's coming up pretty soon. But I don't think that they ever stopped believing in God. Maybe some of them did, but not many. But Moses, they needed to believe, not just believe what he said, but believe in him. Believe that he was the messenger of God. And Moses told the words of the people to the Lord. The Lord said to Moses, "Go to the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and make them wash their clothes and be ready for the third day. For on the third day the Lord will come down on Mount Sinai in the sight of all the people." So he's saying, okay, go down the mountain again and get with the people. You must set boundaries for the people all around, saying, "Take heed to yourselves not to go up on the mountain, nor touch its edge. Whoever touches the mountain will surely be put to death. No hand will touch him, but he will surely be stoned or shot through, whether a beast or a human being." So even animals, if they just wandered up on this mountain, pulverized. He must not live. When the ram's horn sounds a long blast, they may go up on the mountain. So the ram's horn, the shofar. I used to have a shofar. I don't have it anymore. Shofars are fun to try to get a noise out of. They're this big ram's horn. Then Moses went down from the mountain. So he's, talked about that. I think it's the third time he's gone up and down. And sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes. He said to the people, "Be ready for the third day. Do not approach your wives for marital relations." So they can't even, try to have babies. On the third day in the morning, there was thunder and lightning, and a dense cloud on the mountain, and a sound of a very loud horn. So I never thought about this before. I assumed before that the Israelites were going to sound the shofar, but this is a shofar from heaven. All the people who were in the camp trembled. Moses brought the people out of the camp to meet God, and they took their place at the foot of the mountain. Now Mount Sinai was completely covered with smoke, because the Lord had descended on it in fire, and its smoke went up like the smoke of a great furnace. And the whole mountain shook violently when the sound of the horn grew louder and louder. Moses was speaking, and God was answering him with a voice. These people got to hear the voice of God speak to them. And actually, on 2 occasions, I heard the voice of Jesus Christ, and Jesus is God. But this was a much more dramatic thing. I heard the voice of God when I was, I think, 17 years old, and I just poo-pooed it off. I did a video when I was over in maybe Chefchaouen, Morocco, talking about my testimony, and in that I talk about the 2 times that he spoke to me. It's one reason why I believe everything that's in the Bible, because I didn't believe in God, and then he spoke to me. So either I'm crazy and hearing voices, or he's real. But that was very different. That was a soft voice. The Lord came down on Mount Sinai on the top of the mountain, and the Lord summoned Moses to the top of the mountain. Now, he was away for 3 days. Now he's going to start going up again. And Moses went up. The Lord said to Moses, "Go down and solemnly warn the people." So as soon as he gets up there, it's like, okay, go down. Which is really funny. God has a sense of humor because he was talking to the people, and he was talking to Moses while Moses was down on the ground level. But he summoned them up and then said, okay, go down. Go down and solemnly warn the people, lest they force their way through to the Lord to look, and many of them will perish. Let the priests also who approach the Lord sanctify themselves, lest the Lord break through against them. Moses said to the Lord, the people are not able to come up to Mount Sinai, because you solemnly warned us. Set boundaries for the mountain and set it apart. The Lord said to him, go, get down, and then come up, and Aaron with you. But do not let the priests and the people force their way through to come up to the Lord, lest he break through against them. So Moses went down to the people and spoke to them. And if you're looking at the printed word here, you see that the next thing coming up is the Decalogue. That means 10 words. It's the 10 Commandments. And we'll get to that in chapter 20. Strap on your seatbelts, because it's going to be a wild ride for a while. Well, actually, it's a wild ride all the way to Revelation 22. Peace out.